I've been money craving, started shoebox saving, made some puzzle placements. I know what this life gon' come with, know that they gon' go and hate it.
Welcome back to Nationwide Sports Talk. I'm Matt Mackey, live from West Virginia, wild and wonderful, y'all. Another great episode ahead of us, and it's episode 95. Big 95 coming your way. And with me on this 95 episode, like always, my co-host, Caleb Lane. Caleb, say what's up.
What's going on, guys? Hope everyone had a great week. Short week because we're here Wednesday. Got a lot to talk about, so let's get into it.
We definitely got a lot to talk about for Turkey Day tomorrow, so break it down from the get-go. NFL talk. NFL had a great week. I'm not going to lie. It was a great, exciting weekend in NFL. Even some games I thought would be bad, they ended up being a great game. Let's talk about the first game. My boys got a W. Cowboys got a win in a long time, facing the Minnesota Vikings in that 31-28 victory. And the highlights of the game, obviously, CeeDee Lamb's amazing catch, but Adam Thielen from the Vikings had an amazing catch as well. Looking at this game as a Cowboys fan, not really a big win because the Vikings have no defense, but they have a good offense with Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, and Adam Thielen. So I'm just surprised that the defense for the Cowboys stepped up finally in the big plays.
That's what I was going to say. Not really like a credible win for you guys. I mean, obviously it is because you can kind of base this offense on an elite offense with the weapons that they have. But without your guys' star quarterback and how shaky your guys' defense has been this year, I'm honestly very surprised you guys got this win. But it's a good win for this team who's struggled and, like I said, doesn't have their star quarterback. Nice game for Andy Dalton.
Oh, exactly. I was about to say that. Andy Dalton had a great game stepping in, and he looked good. I'm not gonna lie, he looked pretty good, being comfortable, calm, collective, throwing the ball to CeeDee, Amari, those guys. And looking back at that, I'm just thinking to myself, dang, we're 3-7. 3-7, we're second in the division.
Everyone in the division is 3-7.
No, Eagles are 3-6-1.
That's right, 3-6-1.
3-6-1.
I forgot they tied with the Bengals.
So the Eagles are now one in the NFC East division. But other than that, it's a three-way tie for second place. It's a great division.
Oh, the best.
They're calling it the worst division in NFL history, Caleb.
Honestly, I think it is. It probably could go down as the worst.
But if you look at the whole entire all the teams, like I'm not trying to be biased, like all the teams, they all have a key injury. Like
that, or if you want to look at the Giants and the Redskins, they're still kind of in that rebuilding season. So. Yeah. And the Giants, you want to talk about key injuries without Saquon. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
You have your star running back who you've pretty much tried to build that offense around. It's tough.
And then look at the Washington football team. They started off after week 2 with a lot of injuries on their defense. Mm-hmm. You look at the Eagles. They have a lot of injuries in the receiving core, their linemen, their defense, and just Wentz is playing like shit. Let's be real. Yeah. Cowboys, look at them. We lost Van Der Esch for a solid 8 weeks for a broken collarbone. Lost Dak for the season. Zeke got paid. He's not playing.
It's nice to see. I was going to say, it's nice to see that he showed up this week. 21 carries, 100-some yards. Still didn't find the end zone, but
it took him a while.
Yeah, long enough.
Yeah, and then an O-line being beat up. So you look across the division like, I mean, I'm not trying to be biased against the East. It's just the fact that injuries took a big role in this division. Across the board. So, that's why I feel like the teams are playing so poorly. But then again, for the Eagles, you still have your starting quarterback. You still have your starting running back. And
should kind of be a breeze for them, in my opinion. But
exactly.
I don't know.
But sticking with that division real quick, what are your thoughts on they're talking about how Jalen Hurts might start this weekend for the Eagles?
Honestly, I think it's a smart move. Carson Wentz, I mean, when he played your guys' defense, we always talk about it, is very shaky. And there was so many times where he could have capitalized and got a touchdown, been up 2 more scores, and he wasn't. I think it's time you should just –
him.
And I think it's time. I mean, you drafted him, give him a shot. The division is the worst in the league. And like we've said, probably in history. So why not? You have nothing to lose at this point.
it's not the fact they just draft him. It's the fact they draft him in the second round.
That too.
Like, you drafted him second round, and I hope you don't expect him to be a backup the whole entire career for Carson Wentz.
I feel like they saw him coming in, and you had to see him coming and playing in the near future if you drafted him in the second round.
And if you look at Doug Peterson, he's more of a spread out kind of offense, kind of guy. And like Wentz is more like a pro style.
Mm-hmm. I think Jalen Hurts
plays 2 different systems, and he can learn anything you want to learn. That's the great thing about him.
He's very adaptive, and I think he could kind of turn into like a Tua or a Kyler Murray type of player.
I wouldn't say Tua.
Tua is different. Tua is different. Yeah.
Let's be real. Hold on. Tua turns into a
that's true. That's true.
He can turn into a Kyler Murray because that's what he did when he went to Oklahoma. He turned into a Kyler Murray.
That's true. Yeah, I think he would be a perfect fit in that system, and with the kind of weapons you still have with that wide receiver core, I think it'd be a perfect fit.
So, because I saw that DK Metcalf is like hosting the campaign for Jalen Hurts. He's like hosting it. He's like, yeah, go ahead, start him. Yeah, keep Wentz out. But then again, DK played Jalen Hurts at Alabama twice. But the sad thing was Jalen Hurts beat him a combined of 118 points in those 2 games. So you might want to roll DK.
But if you have a player who's that elite in DK Metcalf, he obviously sees talent in another player like Jalen Hurts. So he's like, I feel like he feels like he could help that team if they put him in.
Or is it the fact that go ahead and bench your starting quarterback so we get the backup?
Maybe that. I don't know.
It's mind games, in my opinion.
It is.
Mind games.
It is.
So going off that, New Orleans Saints get a big win against Atlanta Falcons, but without Drew Brees. Taysom Hill came in to start the game, and he looked great. Got the big win for the Saints, held that division spot, and actually took the number 1 spot in the NFC, the whole entire conference, after that big victory. Thoughts on the Saints win without Brees?
I think it's an impressive win, especially without Brees. Like we said, they kind of feel like maybe this could be their key guy, especially if they're starting him over Jameis Winston. So for him to be able to go out and have a 18 for 23, 233 yards, and then he also rushed for 51 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's something you don't really see from the Saints.
No.
Those 2 rushing touchdowns at quarterback position. So it's nice to see that Sean Payton can kind of revolve that offense around him too.
It's crazy, and if you do fantasy football, everyone listening, Taysom Hill's listed as a tight end. So you could put him in a tight end spot.
I saw that, but I thought he got removed from that after this week.
It might have been. I'm saying before the week.
Right.
You picked him up as a tight end to put him in your tight end spot on your fantasy team and still have another quarterback starting for you.
That's a little cheat right there.
You could have done it. It's right there. So going off that, sticking with the big games that happened this past week, the Colts beat the Green Bay Packers in overtime. Aaron Rodgers is looking shaky. He's been kind of inconsistent all year, and it kind of reminds me just like last year. He stepped up big in the bad games, but stepped down in the big games. And Phillip Rivers put on a show in Lucas Oil Stadium and got the big one in overtime. Looking back at that game, I was watching it. All I got to say is with 2:15 left in the game, it took 15 minutes to get to the 2-minute warning. There was 12 penalties called in the 15 seconds left before 2-minute warning.
I remember I called you and you told me about that. Yeah, that's insane. I didn't get to watch this game, sadly. But Aaron Rodgers needs another weapon at wide receiver. You can't just target Devontae Adams.
I agree.
Every time. So I can give him a little bit of credit on him being shaky. He's able to do what he can do or what he's done with just Devontae Adams. But if you're Green Bay and you want to win and you have a team that can win with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, you got to get him a weapon.
No, I agree. You do, and that's it's kind of surprising to me. Like he's still making it work with only one weapon, but eventually, it's going to get annoying. It's going to get tiring. You're going to get even more frustrated as the season goes on because teams are knowing your go-to guy is Devontae Adams. What does that mean? Double team.
Yeah, I mean, he had 8 targets. That's the most that anyone had. And I mean, he probably averages 8 a game, I'm sure, if not more.
Yeah. Oh, he definitely does. And I mean, you can look back at all the other weapons he had, like Lazard, Schulzing, all
And
those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're not big names. They're not really known. Like Lazard steps up here and there.
That's the thing with those receivers. They can step up here and there, but you need a receiver that takes the pressure off of Adams. And none of these receivers can do that.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the Cowboys for example. You got Amari Cooper. He's your number one target, but they got weapons around him: CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup.
And CeeDee Lamb showed up big time.
He did. Mm-hmm. So like you got to rely. You got to get a number one receiver in the draft, a top 3 receiver in the draft coming next year if you want Aaron Rodgers to stay.
I agree, 100%.
Let's be real.
100%.
Before we go into the big topic NFL talk, let's talk about the Monday Night Football game. Tom Brady. I mean, it's Sunday Night Football. Tom Brady loses to the Rams.
It was Monday night.
Monday night?
Yeah.
What was Sunday night game?
The Chiefs Raiders.
Okay, yeah. So we'll talk about the Sunday game too. So Monday night game, Tom Brady loses to the Rams. Rams got revenge on Tom Brady. By the way it's looking, from what I've heard and seen, that's a lot of pointing the finger. They're pointing the finger at everybody. Oh, no, it was AB's fault. No, it was Mike Evans' fault. Nah, it's Bruce Arians' fault for calling that play. Oh, it's Tom Brady for not throwing a good ball. What's going on in that locker room, you think, Caleb?
A lot of ego. A lot of ego. That's really all I can say. I think a little too much ego. I don't think Mike Evans is the quietest person in the locker room. We all know AB is not the quietest person in the locker room. I'm sure Gronk's probably not the quietest person in the locker room. So I just think the ego is getting the best of everyone. And everyone's expecting them to win, especially games like this. And when Tom Brady goes out and throws 2 interceptions, it doesn't look good on him, doesn't look good on the team. And it's kind of easy for everyone else to point fingers than to take the blame. So I think the ego and taking the easy route out are the 2 big things.
Yeah, and if you just look at it too, I'm saying like you're gonna blame Tom Brady. I mean, yeah, he had 2 picks. I get that, but your number one running back is only getting 24 yards.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying like blame Tom Brady.
Oh no, I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying like if anyone's pointing the finger at Tom Brady.
Oh right. I think the play calling too. I mean, you have Tom Brady. You're gonna throw the ball.
He threw the ball 48 times that game.
And they're only running the ball 18. You have Leonard Fournette. You probably have one of the best backfields in the game. You have Leonard Fournette, a true veteran, and then Ronald Jones.
And then you got LaShawn McCoy.
But he hasn't played.
But they still have him as a third string.
Right. And then they ran the ball with Antonio Brown and got 1 yard. Are they trying to do too much, do you think?
I do, because they're trying to get everyone involved. That's the problem now. You got all the big-time names, but all the big-time names want the ball. So what's Bruce Arians do? He gets them all involved. He spreads it out everywhere. That's why Tom Brady's throwing the ball 48 times. Because you got 3 big-name receivers. You got a big-name tight end. Then you got 2 running backs. It's going to be tough. Plus, you got other key guys who were working out well. For example, Scotty Miller, who was playing phenomenal before AB got there. So when he comes in, he's going to want the ball too.
Mm-hmm. And you have Cameron Brate, he's kind of established himself as a decent tight end before Gronkowski was there. So
yeah,
a lot of weapons, like you said, and I can't get over that ego part. I think it's too many egos in that locker room as well.
Yeah, and that interception sealed the deal for the Rams to get the victory, 27-24. Looking at the Sunday Night Football game, this was another great game. I thought it'd be a big win for the Chiefs, but you always got to remember, Derek Carr is still a good-ass quarterback.
Hmm.
That man looked calm and composed with his 3 TDs in that big game. And only thing that happened was they let Pat Mahomes get the ball with 1:15 left. Boom. That's what
Can't
happened.
do that.
You
Can't do
cannot do that one bit, and it cost you big time. And from looking at from Pat Mahomes in clutch time, like last minute, like last drives, I'm going to go ahead and say he might be the most clutch quarterback in NFL history.
Maybe.
Every time he's had the ball last drive, he's won the game.
I would say him. Yeah, him or Matt Stafford has to be up there as well. Because Matt Stafford's clutch, but then again, he also doesn't have those weapons. So yeah, I think Pat Mahomes would probably be up there.
I mean, yeah, you can say Aaron Rodgers, but then again, like Aaron Rodgers has a lot of like incompletions, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we have saw against Colts, he didn't clutch up. But Pat Mahomes, I've noticed every single time his team has the ball in the last drive, he wins the game. Example, the Super Bowl this past year.
It's almost
He
a
made a drive.
guarantee. It's almost a guarantee.
Yeah. He made a drive and boom, won the game. This past Sunday Night Football, his team was down. 1:15 left. And the Raiders gave him the ball. You could
Yeah,
say
that's tough for them, but if you're the Raiders, I mean, you beat them earlier this year, and then you lost to 5-4 to a close game. Made a mistake by giving him the ball last, but what John Gruden's done there, we've said it before, what he's done there and what he's done with Derek Carr, I think he's taken Derek Carr to that next level, as we've seen, especially Sunday night. It's nice to see it because Chiefs get a little bit more competition out there now.
I mean, I think the Raiders are on a rise, not going to lie. They're probably missing just a couple components on their defense. That's about it. Other than
especially being in that division with the Chiefs.
Yeah. Other than that, their offense is pretty solid. I'll go ahead and say that. Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller. They got
Henry Ruggs.
Renfro.
Mm-hmm. And Henry Ruggs.
Yeah. So they got a couple key components, and they got 2 rookie receivers who can get better throughout the year, throughout their career.
Mm-hmm.
They just got to work on that defense now.
I agree.
So last talk before we get into NFL picks, your boy, Caleb, Joe Burrow, had a great rookie run, tore his ACL, tore his MCL, and other ligaments in his knee.
Pretty much for everything.
Burrow. Yeah, Dolphin Joe Burrow being out for the season.
It's sad to see. I really, really, really hope that this Bengals franchise can get him back to 100% healthy and take the right precautions when getting him back onto the field. Because you have your franchise guy. You've already seen what he's done. And there's no reason to rush that back. It's going to be a tough injury to come back from. But luckily, he's not a very mobile quarterback. I mean, he's more of a pocket passing quarterback. So I don't think it takes away from his game too much. But definitely the fear, I think, will be there a little bit. Like we said with Tua and with that. I mean, it's that fear of having that injury happen again. It's always going to be in the back of your mind.
100%. Joe Burrow's had a great, you could say, fantastic. That's what I'm looking for. Fantastic rookie run so far this season. And you look at his stats, what he's done: 2,600 yards passing, total of 13 TDs, only 5 interceptions. It's a great rookie run he's had in the games he played,
and got this team 2 wins, which is
I
think key for this franchise.
I mean,
a tie.
Yeah, tie.
It's a little bit more of a rise than what you've seen. So that's why I think you got to take those right precautions because, like I said, it's your franchise guy. Seeing what he can do.
Do you trust the Bengals can get him right?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's a tough question. AJ Green hasn't been healthy. He hasn't been able to stay healthy. I don't really think their training staff is. I don't know. That's tough. That's a tough question. I hope they can, but I'm 50-50 on it. I think if he were in like New Orleans or something like that, where they really can take their time on him. I feel like they're just going to try to rush him back because they want to try to get those wins and hurry up and better their franchise instead of just waiting for the long run.
I agree. No, I really do agree to that one because you see what's happening to AJ Green, so you don't want that to happen to your other franchise player.
Yeah, I
now,
agree.
It is time for NFL picks. Last week, Caleb, you went 7-6. I went 8-5. Another victory for the week for me. You could say putting your season total at 85, 54-1, and mine at 94, 45-1. I got a 9-game lead over you, Caleb. So, you know what that means? I'm winning again.
I picked against my Redskins. That was a key part. That's what kind of bit me in the ass right there. One of the games, and we both picked the Packers. But
I bet the Cowboys with the Vikings. See what happens when you go with the Cowboys. Boom, right there. All right, start the week off on Thursday. We got 3 games going on. First game, your football team taking on the Cowboys.
I like the football team. I think they're going to be able to get some key turnovers against Andy Dalton.
I like the Cowboys. Can't go against them on Thanksgiving. You just can't. Next game up, Texans and Lions.
I like the Lions in this one. I think Matthew Stafford is just that good of a quarterback. He can get this one done. Had a shaky game last week, but I don't think this Texans team has kind of figured it all the way out yet. I think Matthew Stafford can take advantage of that.
I agree. I like the Lions as well. I think this Texas team's kind of like shaky on the defensive side. And I think Matt Stafford, like you pointed out, he's clutch and he can win big time games when he needs to because that team is 4-6. You can always rely on Matt Stafford having that Lions team 500.
Isn't he usually really good on Thanksgiving too?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not going to guess him on Thanksgiving.
Next game, last game for Thursday, Thanksgiving. Baltimore Ravens are traveling to Pittsburgh, who are 10-0. Will the Ravens break that streak?
I don't think so. And I think this game and another game down their schedule, if they win those two, the Bills game, if they win those two, I think this team could probably be undefeated. I think they win this game, though.
Yeah, I think they're going to win this game as well. I think they can beat the Ravens. Ravens now have lost 2 in a row, and I think it's going to be 3 in a row. Going down to Sunday, 1 o'clock, first one on the boards. Raiders taking on the Falcons. Who you like?
I like the Raiders. What Derek Carr's been able to do this year has been phenomenal.
That's like the Raiders too. Derek Carr's been playing very well, and this Falcons team literally just lost to a Saints team without Drew Brees. So, next game, Justin Herbert and the Chargers taking on Josh Allen and the Bills. Bills come off a bye week. Who you like?
I can't go against the Bills, especially when Josh Allen's coming off a bye week. He had time to rest that cannon. It's going to be a field day for him.
That's right. My boy Josh Allen's back in action going against Justin Herbert. I like Josh Allen in this matchup, and I like the Bills to win the game. Going on to another game, Giants taking on the Bengals without Joe Burrow.
I would advise no one to watch this game unless you're a diehard fan of either team. Probably going to be sloppy. I'm going with the Giants, though.
I'm going with the Giants, too, because I saw Ryan Finley come in the game for Joe Burrow when he went out. He went 3 for 10. I don't trust it. I like the Giants. Next game, we got the Colts and Titans. Last time they played, Colts came back and won the game by 17 points. Shut the Titans out the whole second half.
That's a big reason why I like them, and because the way they played last week against Aaron Rodgers. So I'm taking them this week.
It's exactly like the Colts, and that's exactly why I picked them last week to the Packers, because they came off a big win against the Titans and had a whole week off to rest. Now they're playing Titans again. Keep on rolling like the Colts as well. Panthers take on the Vikings. P.J. Walker, an XFL quarterback, got the first his win in NFL history, his career. Will he go for 2 wins against the Vikings?
I think so. This Vikings team is sketchy on defense, and I think they're riding that momentum.
Yeah, I definitely think the Panthers are going to win this game because the Vikings are not that good, and they lost to the Cowboys. So, lose the Cowboys, you ain't that good.
That's true.
Next game up, Cardinals and Patriots. Who you like?
I like the Cardinals. What Kyler Murray's been able to do this year has been also phenomenal, and he will take advantage of this beaten up and very shaky Patriots team and defense.
Couldn't agree more because the Patriots looked very bad against the Texans last week. I like the Cardinals for sure. Next game up, Dolphins going against the Jets. I'm not for sure if Tua or Fitzpatrick starting this game because Tua got benched midway through that game last week.
I think either way, Dolphins pull this out. Jets, just not their year.
Is it really ever their year?
Not really.
The Browns, who are now 7-3 for the first time in a long time, and they're in the playoff picture, take on the Jaguars. You like?
You want me to throw you a curveball?
Mhm.
Jaguars. I think Minshew Magic is going to come out. I don't have a lot of faith in Baker, and yeah, I'm just going to go with the curveball, Jaguars.
Going with the curveball, man. I see. Looking at the game, I'm not for sure Minshew's even playing. That's why I'm leaning away from the Jaguars and picking the Browns. Because Minshew's been out for a couple weeks now.
And he's still questionable. Yeah,
Yep.
that's true.
Can't change your pick now, buddy. It's already written
Oh,
down.
well, still going with my curveball.
All right. Saints taking on the Broncos. Who you like?
I like the Saints. I don't think this Broncos defense is going to be able to stop Taysom Hill, whether he's throwing the ball or he's running the ball.
All right. Because guess what? I'm going the same thing. I'm going to Saints.
I thought you were going to go with the Broncos.
Hell no. They look like shit with Drew like a quarterback. Chiefs and Buccaneers.
I like the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, can't go against them, obviously. And let's go back to the egos in that Tampa Bay locker room. I think it's going to get the best of them, especially going into a powerhouse team like the Chiefs.
Couldn't agree more. 49ers and Rams. Who you like?
The Rams, the way they played last week, it's been great. And this 49ers team has been shaky this year.
I like the Rams as well. I think the Rams, what they played last week against the Buccaneers, looked really well. 49ers are still dealing with a lot of injuries. I like the Rams. Sunday Night Football. Bears taking on the Green Bay Packers.
I like the Packers. I think Aaron Rodgers is out for redemption, especially on Sunday Night Football, and especially in the division. I think it's going to be a classic AFC North battle.
I think it's going to be a classic one because you have the defense of the Bears, the offense of the Packers. It's going to be a nice matchup. It all depends if the Bears win this game and Nick Foles can make his targets thrown and make it well thrown. Hope so, but I'm going with the Packers in this one. Monday Night Football, Battle of the Birds. Seahawks taking on the Eagles. Who you like?
I like the Seahawks. Russell Wilson played at an MVP level, and Carson Wentz has not. And Jalen Hurts might get the start. So
yeah. Well, I don't know who's starting quarterback. Either way, if it's Wentz or Hurts, I like the Seattle Seahawks because there's no way that any DB on the Eagles team can stop the receivers that the Seahawks have with DK and Tyler Lockett. It's a good core right there for them, and they're going to get the big victory on Monday Night Football. So now it is time to move on to college football. First, let's start off with this before we get into the college football playoffs rankings. The first ones came out last night at 7 p.m. But before we get into that, we're going to talk what led up to decide those rankings. So let's start with the big game that happened Saturday. Biggest game of the day, they say, Indiana against Ohio State. And I'm just going to say Indiana battled hard. They battled really hard in that game. They wanted to win. And I can just say, by the way it looked, yes, Ohio State has all the athletes, all the 5 stars. Indiana doesn't have that. So it was like David versus Goliath pretty much. But what happens when you're up big, you get cocky. And Indiana fought back and kept fighting and fighting and fighting. Yeah, they still lost the game, but like I said last week, if you're a betting man, bet plus 20.5 spread because Ohio State only won by 7. Thoughts on that?
yeah, I think it was a great game. I wish I got to saw it. I remember you told me about it. You said you were flipping back and forth through it, and you really enjoyed watching this game. I like Big Ten football, so I think I would have loved this game. Would have been stressful for me, but I'm glad they were able to pull off this win. And Indiana, like you said, they look really good this year. And I might have to go back to last week where you said the Big Ten is the best conference. I'm 100% with you on that right now.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that Indiana didn't play anybody before going into that game, but it's the fact that like, the way they played, yeah, they lost. Okay, it's Ohio State. They have 5-star players. You're going to get 2, 3, 4-star kind of guys. If they get lucky, get a 4-star. But the way that Michael Penix played, the way that Tyler Freifogel played very well. The defense stepped up big in that second half for Indiana, but yeah, it still cost them a win. But when you're playing halftime, when you're at halftime, and you're down 28-7, you think it's done over with. But when you come fighting back and score 14 in the third quarter, shows Ohio State. So you do the math right there, Caleb. It's 21-42. You're down by 21 points going into the fourth quarter. Ohio State thinks they had a 1. Already thought, yeah, it's locked, and we win this game. It's done. We're just going to sit back and chill, goof around, and then you see Indiana score. Boom, came at you. You get a little shaky. But we're up by 14, we're good. Boom, they score again. And that's when oh, shit, we're down only by 7 now. And that's what happened, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
They finally kicked their butts back into gear and locked down on defense and shut them out the rest of the quarter. That's truly what happened. But Indiana's a good team. They're pretty dominant, and they proved themselves. They proved probably the whole entire country wrong.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that. Everyone probably thought they were going to get blown out.
Yeah, but like I said, Caleb, if you're a betting man, bet plus 20.5. But like we always say, we don't know nothing. We don't know anything. We don't know anything.
What do we know?
Exactly. So staying in the top 10 games that happened this past weekend, let's look at Cincinnati UCF. Cincinnati snuck by, okay? And they won by 3 points against UCF, who, if you look at UCF's schedule and what they did in the past games, UCF lost to Memphis by 1, beat Tulane by 17, beat Houston by 23, and lost to Tulsa. So you're thinking, I thought Cincinnati's going to come in there and just beat the shit out of them because of the way they played against SMU and Memphis. Played very well. Well, let's just say when Central was up 14-3, I got a little nervous. I was like, oh, shit, I'm wrong. Shit. I guess it's part of when I don't know anything comes into place. But it was a very high-scoring game, and all the points, a lot of the points were scored in that fourth quarter, second quarter. It was always towards the end of the halves. Because going to halftime, Cincinnati was up 19-7. So, all right, we got a good game going on here, all right? And then when UCF went up 25-22 at the end of the third quarter, I was, oh, shit. I'm going to lose some money. I'm going to lose my bets. And Cincinnati came back fighting hard, and they were up 36-25, and then UCF had a little 10-yard pass to Dylan Gabriel and put them within 3, but they just couldn't counter back that because Cincinnati's defense locked down from there. So with Cincinnati being 7 at this time, what are your thoughts on how they played?
I couldn't say anything better than what you said. Just the way that they were able to fight back, kind of shaky, like you said, to start the game, but the way that they were able to just turn it around and like you said, just lock up and really get it done when it mattered shows how good this team really is.
100%. So stick with another big game that happened this past weekend. Northwestern took on Wisconsin, and Northwestern's defense shut down Graham Mertz, you can say. Won that game 17-7, making Graham Mertz throw 3 interceptions. Graham Mertz still had 230 yards, I'll say that. But the 3 picks going to cost you, but against a good defense.
That's true, and it's kind of tough, though, because this Wisconsin team has gone from being a running team the past 3 years. Jonathan Taylor, now you're trying to throw the ball and reshape your whole offense. It's tough, but like you said, this Northwestern team, they're really good, especially this defense. And being able to force those 3 interceptions, you're almost guaranteeing yourself a victory.
100%. And if you look at the total stats of the game, so Wisconsin had 100 more yards, 103 more yards than what Northwestern. Say that. Well, what did Wisconsin have that Northwestern barely had? Wisconsin had a total of 5 turnovers, 3 picks, 2 fumbles. Northwestern, they only had a fumble. That's all they had.
It's going to cost you. Those turnovers really come back to bite you in the butt.
And it proves right there. Because you can put a nice drive going. Bam, a pick comes out the 15-yard line. That drive means nothing now.
Yeah.
So looking at those games, going over those, the college football playoffs rankings have finally come out and have been announced. Let's break down the top 6. Your first 4, 1 Alabama, 2 Notre Dame, 3 Clemson, 4 Ohio State, and your 5 and 6 is A&M and Florida. And if you're wondering where Cincinnati is, they're at 7. If you're wondering where Northwestern is, they're at 8. But if you're wondering where BYU is, scroll down a little bit, they're at 14 for you. So looking over the rankings, in Coastal Carolina, they're 20th. So that's kind of cool, I ain't gonna lie. Looking over the rankings, what surprised you the most?
I think BYU being 14 and honestly Clemson being 3. I expected them to be 4 just because of that loss and Ohio State's win, but I think they based their struggle off of Indiana. And like we said, everyone expected them to go in and blow Indiana out, so I think that hurt them a lot.
Looking at that, going off what you said, yes, BYU did surprise me. But we'll talk about that here soon. But the Ohio State one, it really didn't surprise me because Clemson played 8 games so far.
That's true.
Ohio State played 4.
That's true. I also didn't take that into account.
And if you look at Ohio State, who they played in those 4 games, they played an Indiana team, a Rutgers team, a Nebraska, and a Penn State team that has not won a game yet. So they looked at that, on my opinion. That's what they did. So it didn't really surprise me with them being 4. But if you look at A&M and Florida, how they're 5 and 6. So A&M beat Florida, which put them obviously above Florida. Florida's biggest win is against Georgia, who's now at number 9. And the only way Florida can get in the playoff now, win out, and then play in the SEC title game against Alabama and win. Only way you going to get in the playoff is you got to win the rest of your games. You lose one more, you lose the SEC title game, you're not in.
It's going to be tough, but this could be the team that could do it because of Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask has been on another level this year. But like I said, it's going to be tough. This Alabama team, they're always good. They're going to continue to be good. And that defense is pretty good. They had 650 yards led up against them in that Ole Miss game. But it seems like the SEC's just become more offense, like we talked about, like the Big 12. But they still have a pretty good defense, so it's going to be tough for Kyle Trask.
Since you brought up Alabama, well, I did too. It came across my phone just now. Alabama coach Nick Saban tests positive for COVID-19 again, but has very mild symptoms. So,
do they play this weekend?
Yes, they do.
Yeah. They better not let him on the sidelines. That's all I'm going to say.
You better not let him in the game.
No, at all. Let him sit in his home.
Play, you can't coach. Same thing. But sticking back to the rankings, Northwestern being 8, that surprised me a lot because I didn't know that they'd be 5-0. No one probably did. And also, I didn't know because I listened to College Football Live. They literally said Northwestern has a harder schedule. So that I didn't think about that. And then looking down at BYU being 14, but they're 9-0, only 9-0 team. The only team in the top 25 who has played 9 games, honestly. But then again, look at the schedule. BYU, they have played their past 2 games against North Alabama, besides Boise State, North Alabama, Western Kentucky, Texas State, UTSA, like those teams.
Not as credible wins as these other programs.
Exactly. And their last game is against San Diego State, which is not until December 12th.
Yeah.
That's BYU's next game. So it is now. Today is November. It's November 25th. They got a whole 2 weeks off.
Yeah, I mean, but they'll have this team. That's just. I think it's better for them. It's tough because obviously you want to try to get into the playoffs, but if you're just trying to win and have a perfect season, that's your best bet for them. Those 2 weeks. So you just get better over those 2 weeks, and those other teams. I mean, they're going to be wore down. You're going to be well rested.
Yeah.
With
So what
a couple
I'm
practices.
with Pac-12 announcement, they do like they'll play out of conference teams.
You think they pick up for one of their weeks?
If I was BYU, I'm calling Oregon. I'm calling USC. 2 teams in the top 20.
Solidify your campaign as much as you can.
BYU is supposed to play USC this year, but with Pac-12 saying no, we're not playing out conference teams, game got canceled.
Right.
That's why they played the UTSA, Western Kentucky, and North Alabama. So it's just the fact that you got to make the call because you have 2 weeks to your last game, so you have 2 Saturdays you can play.
I agree.
Build that campaign. So any other things surprise you in the rankings, Caleb?
Those were my 2 surprises.
No. Alrighty. It is now time for our 5-star performers of the weekend. 5-star performers we do every single week. It's when a player performs very well at a 5-star level because in high school they could have been a 3, 2, or 4-star, but this past weekend they were a 5-star performer. Let's start off with number 5, Caleb.
My number 5 was Spencer Rattler from Oklahoma. 17 for 24, 301 yards, 4 touchdowns. Also had 7 carries, 14 yards, and a touchdown. As they got a pretty big win for their struggling season, 41-13 over Oklahoma State.
My number 5 is Grace McCall, quarterback of Coastal Carolina. 12 for 21, 200 yards on the dot, 2 TDs versus App State, and a 34-23 win. The reason why he's on this list is because App State has never lost to Coastal Carolina when they joined the Sun Belt. And you know what happened after beating him 6 times? Grace McCall called an action and got the win for them to end that streak.
My number 4 guy is Sincere McCormick, UTSA running back. 32 carries, 173 yards, and 2 touchdowns as they got a 23-20 victory over Southern Miss.
My number 4 guy is Michael Penix Jr., quarterback Indiana. 27-51, 491 yards, 5 TDs versus Ohio State in a 35-42 loss. He is on here mainly because the way he fought and never gave up against his Ohio State team and fought to the very end.
My number 3 guy is from the same team, Ty Fogel, Indiana wide receiver, 7 receptions, 218 yards, and 3 touchdowns as they had that 35-42 loss at Ohio State.
My number 3 guy is a military man named Brad Roberts, running back out of Air Force. 28 carries, 177 yards, 3 TDs versus New Mexico in a 28-0 win. Shut up for Air Force.
My number 2 guy is Brady McBride, Texas State quarterback, 32 for 45, 443 yards, and 5 touchdowns as they got a 47-45 victory over Arkansas State.
And my number 2 guy is Dwayne Eskridge, wide receiver out of Western Michigan. 4 receptions, 212 yards, 3 TDs versus Central Michigan, a big rival game, 52-44 victory. And Caleb, we know who our number 1 guy is, the same guy. He ran our show last year pretty much. It's
Has
the
been
man,
on it a couple of times this year.
Jarrett Patterson, running back out of Buffalo. 21 carries, 301 yards, 4 TDs versus Bowling Green, and that 42-17 win. Jarrett Patterson might be the best running back in college football.
Yeah, I could agree with that, and definitely the best player out of that conference. But he's definitely a top player in college football as well.
He definitely is. The way he runs, so strong, shifty as well, and he does not stop running. His motor keeps on going and showing because you got to think about it. He had 21 carries, but 301 yards.
He had 31.
What?
Yeah, 31.
Oh, I must have mistyped my.
Yeah.
31 carries. So
yeah.
Still saying 31 carries then.
Yeah.
31.
That's an insane stat. I don't think anyone's. I mean, Sincere McCormick had 32, but those are insane numbers for a running back. 31 carries.
But then
A lot of
again, it also
touches.
shows that your head coach is relying on you.
Hmm.
Lead this team. And Jared Passon, he's said, all right, I got you. I'll put you on my back. We're running. 301 yards.
Yeah.
Impressive stat by the man. Coming up next, we have a special guest here doing our game day picks with us. Coming on our show is a wide receiver out of Richmond, Isaac Brown. Welcoming Isaac Brown, the receiver of University of Richmond. The star receiver had a breakout year his last year at Richmond, but he's on the show today. So for this show, right now, this segment, we're going to ask Isaac a couple questions, and then he's our celebrity guest for the game day picks. Isaac, say what's up.
What up, everybody?
There we
How y'all
go.
doing? Good to have y'all.
All right. So we're going to start with a couple questions. Caleb, you can go ahead and start with yours. Get yours going.
So my first question is, what's one thing that you had to really adjust to from high school to college ball, either on the field or off the field?
I would say definitely with school, because school's a lot harder. So it's like football takes up a lot of your time when you're playing in college because of meetings and games on Saturdays. So like really balancing the school and football aspect of it, it's pretty difficult, but it took a while to get used to, I would say. But yeah, that's probably the most difficult thing.
So would you be used to it by now?
I would say yeah, like towards the end of the season, last season, because my freshman year I was redshirted, so I didn't play or anything. I didn't travel or nothing like that. But then last year when I started playing, it took a little bit to try and balance to find out when I can do homework and all that type of stuff.
So with this year right here playing spring ball, it's like you still have another year of eligibility too, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they gave us a year eligibility back since we didn't play in the fall.
All righty. Look at
Yeah.
that. I'll shine for 2 more years.
Yeah, hopefully.
My other question was, how is this year different? I know you said obviously school, like you have to adjust to school and everything due to football, but with COVID and everything, how's it different between practices, meetings, and even lifts?
Yeah, it was weird because we actually had to. We never did this before. We had to lift. My group had to lift on Saturdays, so we had like, I think three. Well, we started off with 6 different groups of lifting, and then like we had to gradually work our way up as long as we didn't have cases and stuff like that. And then we got to have fall ball, and then our school we went back into the red stage, which was when we had to be all separated in 6 different lift groups and stuff. But we just barely squeezed fall ball in, so we got to have that. It was just really crazy. With
But it was
everything.
a nice relief to have that fall ball come though.
Yeah, for sure. It was good to be with the guys because that was like the little bit of time that we got to be with each other. But yeah, it was just really crazy and complicated.
I
No,
bet.
I bet COVID messed everything up for you.
Yeah, for sure. Because now we're playing in the spring, like an actual season, but we're only playing 6 games. But I mean, it'll be good to play different teams, but it'll just be weird.
So I know like North Dakota State, they played like a game earlier this year. So are they still playing spring too? Or
I guess because our coaches was telling us that we were still gonna have playoffs and everything and a championship. So I guess the whole FCS is playing. But I know our conference we didn't play in the fall. Our whole conference just said we're not playing in the fall. So I know everybody in our conference is going to be playing.
oh, okay, so it's conference. Oh, okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
I know like Trey Lance plays a big time name in the FCS,
Yeah,
and I was just wondering like with him that spring, the draft, the combine, all that kind of stuff for him,
right.
he's definitely not going to play.
Right,
What I
yeah.
was wondering like that's kind of weird. I get to play like one game, perform a little bit. I did my one game, I'm done.
Yeah.
Kind
I
of thing.
mean, especially because cases are going up again now, like they're worse than it was before. So I guess it's just between what schools say they still want to play and who doesn't. But I know right now, as of right now, we're playing.
But is there no talks of you not playing?
Not yet. Not that our coaches have said anything. Right now, we're still doing our 6 games and playing the playoffs and all that. So
Okay.
Let's hope you guys can play this year.
Yeah, we need some competition. It's been weird without it.
I bet.
Yeah.
So knowing you have a spring season, what are you looking forward to going into that season? Like, what do you plan on? What is your self goal for the year?
Well, I know our coaches like they want to come out of it healthy for sure because we're supposed to be turning around and playing back in the fall again. So definitely want to stay healthy. And then I mean we're competing, so I'm gonna come out with a conference championship at least.
All right.
Yes,
It's always
sir.
good to have a self goal that way.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
what I do when I do my interviews, if you listen to my past episodes, I always ask the serious questions. And I'll talk a little fun at the end, towards the end of it. So, when you played high school ball, you played receiver and quarterback. Two different schools, one receiver, one quarterback. Out of the two, I mean, I know you're playing college receiver right now, so don't be biased right now. Which one of the two did you like the best?
I mean, I
Oh, no,
can't
don't
lie.
lie. Don't
I can't
lie.
lie, bro. I would definitely say quarterback. I mean, it's definitely different getting the ball every play. Like you can do what you want with it, you know. And then receiver, you don't know when you're gonna get your touches. But I mean, it's definitely more fun playing quarterback.
So
For
I'm
sure.
glad you said that. That leads me to my next question, actually. Are there any talks of you playing Wildcat at Richmond?
Um, that's actually funny because last year we put in a couple trick plays for me to throw it.
See, I knew
Uh,
it. Yep, I knew it was
Yeah,
coming.
There you go.
I
That's
was
a good
like,
question.
I was like 1 for 2 with 30 yards or something like that.
There you
We
go.
ran it a couple times, but yeah, it was fun. It's always fun looking forward to those plays for real.
I bet.
So, did you have any offers for quarterback at all?
Nah,
No.
because everybody that's seen me, well, when I had my offers, it was before I even played quarterback, before I
Oh.
even started my senior year. So everybody was just watching my junior year highlights and stuff, just playing receiver and all that.
So when you transferred to Millbrook, did any more offers come in?
When I transferred, a lot of more schools started talking to me because I transferred my in the middle of my junior year. It was right after the season, so like that spring and summer when I was already at Millbrook, a lot of more Virginia schools started talking to me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We won't comment on that stuff because you know how it goes. We were in the same boat, so I get it 100%. So since you play receiver now, what is your favorite thing about being a wide receiver?
Hmm, that's a good question.
I
I
always
would
ask the best.
say, huh?
I always ask the best.
Yeah, for sure. uh, um, I mean, I would say always making the big plays because, like, usually whenever there's big downfield plays, it's usually a big throw from the quarterback to the receiver. Those are always fun. You always get the chances to make the big plays, run and go routes and posts and whatever. But I mean, that's one of the most fun things about being a receiver is
It's
getting the chance
nice.
to make plays. You know.
It's a nice rounding somebody up.
Oh,
But
for sure,
that's a key part of it too.
for sure. Yeah, those are the most fun.
And I'm guessing the worst part is blocking, right?
Yeah,
No,
I can't lie. Yeah.
just making sure. I kind of figured that. So, the last question I got for you: give me a breakdown of your pre-game ritual.
Pre-game ritual. All right. Well, you got the songs on the playlist that you gotta listen to before the game.
Of course.
There's always those.
So,
And
hold
then
on that. What's your number one song you listen to? What's the first song off the bat? Or you just hit shuffle?
well, I usually hit shuffle and then there's one song, um it's all about the money. It's all about the money is that one song that I gotta listen to before you go out there because you try to get to the league, you want to make that money. And then that song just gets you hyped before the game to get you to go out there and do your best so you can get to the league.
So, other than the playlist, what else you do before the game? You stick to
I get
yourself?
taped. Huh?
You stick to yourself?
Yeah, usually. I like to sit on the couch and watch the other college games while getting dressed because we're in the locker room early, so you got a bunch of time. You can relax and chill out. So I like to sit on the couch and watch some of the other college games going on before I start getting ready. And then I get taped by our trainer Joe every time before games. Um, that's really it. I mean, it's usually just the songs on the playlist that you gotta listen to
So
before you
no
go
one
out
else
there.
but Joe can tape you.
Right, yeah. I
Oh.
always get taped by Joe on game days.
Always got to shout out the trainer.
Yup. Shout out Joe.
All right. So now interview's done. Time to game day picks. Since you're our first celebrity game day picker, you ain't got no competition anymore. You ain't got no competition to go against. So I got 10 games listed down. Big games on Friday.
Mhm.
Big games on Saturday. So obviously Black Friday, you can say if they're having it this year. Who knows? Who cares? It's about
Right.
football. So the first game, number 15, Iowa State going against Texas. Who you like?
I like Iowa State. That receiver for Iowa State, he's dirty. I was watching him the other day when they was playing. But I'm gonna have to go Iowa State on that one.
Who you like, Caleb?
I'm about to go with Iowa State as well. The receiver core and then Brees Hall at running back too. He's phenomenal.
Yeah, you can't go against Iowa State. They should not Kansas State that way. I like Iowa State. Another one. Since the college football playoffs just came out, the rankings.
Yep.
Number 2, Notre Dame taking on UNC. Sam Howell. Sam Howell's Caleb's boy. Who you like?
I like Sam Howell too, but I'm gonna have to go with Notre Dame. They're rolling right now, especially after beating Clemson and all that. I mean, they're rolling. You can't go against them.
I agree. They're on top of the world, especially at that Clemson loss. And I don't think North Carolina can pull this one off.
See, this is what I like the best. 2 against 1. I like UNC. Sam Howell is just too good, and Notre Dame's defense is shaky. You got to think about this, guys. They beat Louisville by 5.
Yeah.
Louisville's terrible.
You've also said Notre Dame's bound to slip up, so
This is the game. Bam. Hit with a little curveball. All right, last game of Friday. Nice little Pac-12 game. Both teams are 0-3. Stanford against Cal. Who's getting their first win?
I mean, I gotta take Stanford's history on this one. I'm just taking Stanford.
I'm going to Stanford. They got Christian McCaffrey's brother back there at quarterback, and he can run the ball. So you got those McCaffrey genes in you. You can do anything, I think. So I'm going Stanford.
I'm going with Stanford too because my former interview I did, Austin Jones, was starting running back for Stanford. And he said it's about time they're going to shine. So let's hope so. Moving on to Saturday. I'm going to start off my boys, Boise State. You know I'm a big Boise fan, IB.
Yep.
San Jose's taking on Boise State. Both teams are 4-1. Who you like? You better not disappoint me.
I got you, bro. I'm gonna go Boise State.
All right. I like that.
I'm going Boise State as well. They played really good decent against BYU, but
You don't talk about it.
it was I think that's going to be their only hiccup of the season. They're still a really good team.
Well, I'd say their hiccup was against BYU, but it was a little shaky game against Hawaii. But they're back on the blue turf, the little Smurf turf. I think San Jose State don't know what's going for them from Boise. Big game in the Big 10, you can say. Maryland's been off for 2 weeks. They're taking on Indiana. 2 of his brothers played well for Maryland. Who you like, IB?
I do like Maryland. They've been rolling too. I like watching them too.
You like Maryland?
Yeah.
Hey.
It's a curveball. I'm going Indiana. I can't go against Ty Freifogel the way he performed last week, and he was a top star performer. So I'm going with Indiana this week.
I'm going Indiana because of Michael Penix Jr. That man's dirty. That man's phenomenal. Big game in the Big 12. Oklahoma is taking on WVU and Morgantown. Who you like, IB?
I mean, all my West Virginia boys are gonna be mad, but I love watching Oklahoma. I've been a fan of Oklahoma for a long time, but I can't go against them, so I'm going Oklahoma.
So what's your thoughts on Spencer Rattler real quick?
I love watching him play, but I mean, he's throwing a lot of picks, but I love watching him play. He's exciting.
He is exciting to play, and that's why I'm going with Oklahoma. I think WVU's defense can force a couple turnovers, but I just think this offense for WVU is a little too shaky, and Oklahoma's offense is a little too good.
See, going off the picks part, WVU's DBs aren't that good. It's mainly the front 7 that's solid.
That is
I
true.
think Spencer Rattler have a field day on them boys back in Morgantown. He's gonna come in there and give them some Boomer Sooner action, get that win. I'll say it right there like that. I don't care who gets mad. I picked W every single game this year. Ask Caleb.
Yeah, I think we both have, and we've been disappointed a couple times.
Now you picked them against TCU. I picked TCU, so I didn't care. Battle of the MAC. Both teams are 3-0. Kent State at Buffalo.
Actually, one of my boys, y'all know Millbrook, PK just committed to Kent State. So for him, I'm gonna just go Kent State.
I'm going Buffalo. Jared Patterson, he's phenomenal. I don't think Kent State's going to be able to stop him.
Yeah, I like Buffalo as well. I mean, yes, Kent State has a good quarterback, Daniel Crum, but they don't got a boy back there named Jared Patterson. That man ran 300 yards last week. I like that man over a guy named Crum. All right, it's Iron Bowl time. Good old Auburn at Alabama. But like I said when we were doing the show earlier, I came across the phone. Nick Saban got tested positive for COVID. Who you like?
Seen that. Regardless, I'm gonna still have to go Alabama. You can't go against them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Bo Nix has struggled a lot this year too, sadly, because I was a big Bo Nix fan last year. Still am, but he struggled a lot in this Alabama team. They're dominant, too dominant.
Yeah, Alabama's offense, great, led by Mac Jones, another former Nationwide Sports Talk interview, John Mitchell III, playing very well. And then you just can't go against that defense that's been dominant for Alabama this past decade, you could say. Or even more than that, probably. Big game, the ACC, Pitt at Clemson. Is it a big game or it's fine? It's Clemson's first game in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that is true. Trevor Lawrence is back, though.
Yep.
I mean, it's hard not to take Clemson in this. I don't think Pitt's good enough to upset him, but yeah, so I'm gonna go Clemson.
All right.
I was going to ask if Trevor Lawrence is back, and since he's back, yeah, can't go against this Clemson team now that he's back.
All right, I like Clemson as well, man, because Trevor Lawrence and Dabo Swinney, he threw a nice little jab at Florida State this past week. I like that.
I did like
hear
that.
He said?
Yeah.
He said they've been 3 coaches the past 5 years. What are they going to know what to do?
Yeah, I did like that, even though I'm not the biggest Clemson fan.
All right, last game, Pac-12. Both teams are 3-0. Colorado taking on USC.
I gotta go with the Trojans on this one.
I agree. Keaton Slovis has been on another level this year, the 3 games he's played, and they're going to be 4-0 after this week.
See, Caleb, that's what I don't like, man. I don't like this division we got going on right now. You're saying Keaton Slovis on a whole nother level this year, but has he really? Has he really?
I mean, he's done pretty good for him.
He's only throwing 3 TDs this season.
He has 5 touchdowns and 2 interceptions.
I was looking at the wrong quarterback. Don't lie to me. Scratch that. But I like Colorado. I like the Buffs. What can I say? I like the underdog in this battle. Being a Boise State fan, you got to root for the underdog. Right, IB? You've been an underdog probably once in your life.
Yep.
And at Colorado, they got a nice going program from a new head coach coming in. Played a very good game at Stanford. Played a great game against UCLA. And USC finally got their first big win, you could say, against Utah last week. But Utah is a different team this year, as we can see. They don't got Zach Moss anymore.
Yeah.
That shows.
Sure.
But I like Colorado. So before we end this, wrap it up, IB, before we let you go and have your nice Thanksgiving break for a solid month and a half, give me your prediction for the Heisman. I want to see, yeah. Give me your top 3 finalists. That's what I want, top 3 finalists.
I would say Travis Etienne.
Ooh.
That's the name that comes up first in my head. What's Alabama's quarterback name?
Mac Jones.
Yeah, I would say him. And then Notre Dame's quarterback.
Ian Book?
Yeah.
No Trevor Lawrence?
Nah.
No Justin Fields?
He's missed too many games. Justin Fields, I have to see a couple more games because they've only played, like 2 or 3. So, I mean.
4 now.
Yeah, 4 now. So, they play a few more games and keep winning. For sure, him.
What do you think about BYU's quarterback?
He's pretty nice. I've seen some stuff on him on Twitter. But, yeah, he's pretty nice.
He got that Mormon swagger.
Yeah, for sure.
What are your thoughts on Kyle Trask? Florida's quarterback?
Oh, Florida's been killing it, bro. Florida's been eating. My roommate, his favorite team is Florida, actually. So he's been keeping an eye on them. But I mean, they gotta play one or two more games for me too, because they stopped because of the COVID stuff. But
With Florida, to me, they haven't played. They've been playing well since that loss. Since they lost to A&M, that's when they started rolling. If
Yeah.
I'm honest. I mean, yeah, Kyle Trask put up numbers the whole entire time, but doing a whole team effort.
and that tight end they got too. He nice.
Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
They say he's the best player in the draft coming up.
Yeah, I seen that too.
Might be.
Might
He
be what,
first
best
round
player?
for sure.
He's definitely up there, I would think. Him, Jared Patterson too.
You love Jared Patterson. He loves that.
Man had 301 yards last night.
Like
last
he
game.
shared our show last season. That's why you love him so much. He shouted us out. All right, IB, I'm gonna let you go. You have a great Thanksgiving break.
All right, fellas.
Stay safe. And
Yes,
remember, mask up when you come to Sheets.
Appreciate y'all having me. Y'all have a good Thanksgiving.
You
Yes,
too, my
sir.
man.
You too.
That concludes the show for Nationwide Sports. Hope you enjoyed a nice little interview at the end of the show to wrap it all up. IB, I appreciate you coming on, do the game day picks, and talking with us. It's always great to have a former teammate and a friend play in college football, the FCS, the D1 level. Next week, we'll try to have another guy on the show, talk with him, do the same exact process. So, if you are a D1 athlete or any high school athlete out there who wants to be on the show, come on the show. We'll get the picks going, get them rolling for the questions asked to you. Caleb, say your peace, love, and goodbyes.
All right, guys. Like Mackie said, that does it for another episode for us. Like, subscribe, comment, let us know. Like he said, if you're an athlete and you want to come on the show, let us know. Reach out to us. We'll get you on here. And have a fun and safe travels this weekend. And happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
That's right. Like Caleb said, like, subscribe, share, comment what you want to do. And like Caleb said, and I said, athletes, reach out to us. We'll bring you on the show without a doubt. We'll work around your schedule, if anything. We don't care. We'll talk about you all, let you know anything else. And he's on the show, have some game day picks, have some fun like we did with IB right there. And like Caleb said, Thanksgiving weekend, be safe. Eat well. Eat well. And remember, at a family function, 6 feet apart, please. And mask up.
Cause lately I
Who
ain't
cares
been
about
the
that?
same for
Have a
life.
good weekend, y'all. I'm at Mac. Peace out.
I'm just trying to
Peace.
get out. I'm trying to better these things, but you just all on my thoughts, and I just can't separate. It's the life of an angel with the mind of a saint.